In the name of Allah, who came to us in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, in the name of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, in the name of Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, I greet you in the greetings of peace of Assalamu alaikum. We are here on the porch at Muhammad Farms. It's getting ready to rain, which is a real blessing. Allah's irrigation system is the best. We just finished putting out sweet corn, okra, bell pepper, eggplant, cantaloupes, and we cultivated our broccoli and cabbage. We hope to have a lot of these vegetables ready for you at Founders Day, July 6th, 7th, and 8th. And also to discuss some things at Founders Day in the relation to what we're talking about today, which is rebuilding the black community. Last week we did a presentation called Deportation of the Black Community, systematic destruction, planned destruction of our community and even our families, or our desire to even have a family. So today we're going to talk about the rebuilding of the black community, which is a real love story. And it's going to take love to reestablish what's been taken from us. We will start out by what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us about the trick of integration. This is what the Muslims believe. We believe that the offer of integration is hypocritical and is made by those who are trying to deceive the black peoples into believing that their 400-year-old open enemy of freedom, justice, and equality are all of a sudden their friends. Furthermore, we believe that such deception is intended to prevent black people from realizing that the time in history has arrived for the separation from the whites of this nation. Now, in our last presentation, we talked about the deportation of the black community. And it was the combination of the KKK and this offer of integration from the NAACP and the jobs offered up north that we left our farms and our communities behind, running after that acceptance that we will never find. And we keep trying to find that happiness amongst white people, which is, of course, is impossible because they're not people. But now, as we're retiring, there's a reverse underground railroad of black people coming back down south, but is now has not been organized. So we got to organize it and have a planned return of our skilled elders to train our youth and to build a whole new world, a new kingdom. Now, we cannot gain black power until we reestablish black love. Okay, we did have black love at one time and black power to an extent, even under segregation, because even though we had to go, when we were amongst white folks, we had to bow and kowtow and move to the other side. When we got back in our communities, we had love and we had businesses, we had communities, we had family, we had schools, we had restaurants. Okay, we had our own little insular world, even though it was under the confines of segregation. But the trick of integration has made us lose everything, including our black love and especially our black power. You cannot love what you do not like. You cannot like what you do not respect. One of the main purposes of education is to teach you to respect the society in which you live and the people in power in that society. In other words, they're not educating you for the benefit of you. They're educating you for the benefit of them. So we must study what they've taught us, and we must rebuild ourselves based on a knowledge of self that can help us instead of hurting us. We as a black people are torn with trying to understand this question. Are we the cursed seed of Ham, as the Jews have portrayed us, or are we God's chosen people whose identity was stolen by the Jews? Now, this is a very, very important question, because we are still acting like something is wrong with us. And we've been cursed. These white folks and Jews, they're doing so much better than us, and they're treating us like we're nothing, and maybe we are nothing. And so this question has to be answered, or we are not going to be able to relocate ourselves into a world for us, instead of us being a victim within somebody else's world. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad asked this question: who are the children of Israel? And he says, America has fulfilled this to the very letter and spirit with her slaves, the so-called Negroes, under the type of Israel. The Egyptians did nothing of the kind to Israel when they were in bondage to them. In fact, and as God taught me, the Bible is not referring to those people as his people. It is referring to the so-called Negro and his enemy, the white race. This is for message to the black man. So, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad says the Egyptians did nothing of the kind to Israel. So, Israel was not, and even today, their own scientists, archaeologists admit that Israel was not enslaved in Egypt. Egypt did nothing of that. In fact, Joseph and his boys came down into Egypt and enslaved us, according to the Bible. Even the preachers never teach you that part. We did in the deportation of the black community, and that piece we gave that information. But see, these people, white folks, was playing us, and they giving us little hints, okay, like on the back of their dollar bill. See, they sending signals to each other. On the back of the dollar bill, here you have their dollar bill. They have a pyramid, and there's a gap there in the all seeing eye. Okay, because actually the Great Pyramid doesn't have a capstone. We'll talk about that in a minute. But there's a gap right there. Okay? Then over here is the eagle, and above it is the 6-pointed Star of David. So these people are hiding behind some knowledge, hiding the knowledge from us and hiding their identity from us, so they can be the capstone of the pyramid. That capstone is missing, but they are not to be the top of that pyramid. They are not to be the capstone. The missing link came to us in the person of Master Rod Muhammad, and has put the Honorable Elijah Muhammad as the top of that capstone. And so, for those of us who say, well, all that ancient Egyptian stuff, that's not important. Well, let me show you how important it is, how slick it is. The pyramid, from pyramid to skyscraper. See, the pyramids were about service, where the skyscraper was about ego. You said, well, no, the pyramids were tombs for the pharaohs. That's extremely, you can't get no bigger egotistical than that, unless, of course, it's all a lie, because they never found no pharaohs, no queens, no kings, and no pyramids. In my first book that I wrote, Amen, the Secret Waters of the Great Pyramid, we talk about how the pyramids are part of the water irrigation purification system. Then in my second book, talking about the pyramids, I Will Not Apologize, the Resurrection of the Master Architect, we show not only were they built for irrigation, for water, they were built using water. The hydraulic instrument, the hydraulic elevator that they made to actually float the stones to the top, we talk about it in that book. So this service that it rendered, and along with giving us a history of the future, knowing that our enemy is going to hide everything, and now he's trying to find it so he can destroy the identity of himself and us. But we talk about that in our book, I Will Not Apologize. Now, but what I want to point out here is that the height of the Great Pyramid is 481 feet. Well, they estimate that the missing capstone is about 8.58 feet, which gives you 489.58 feet as the total height of the pyramid with the missing capstone. So what the white man has done, his definition of skyscraper is that it's got to be over 492 feet. In other words, his phallic symbol, his power symbol, must be taller than the Great Pyramid to be a skyscraper, and it's all about his ego. Those who have the most money and power, they be at the top, looking down around on the rest of the world who in fact are working for them under the guise of them working for themselves or having jobs, but it's all part of their scheme. So they can in fact fulfill what Yakub promised them, that their brother would be their slave. So now they're on top of the world, and the world is us. So you're not bona fide skyscraper unless you're 492 feet. You got to be taller than the Great Pyramid, because it's all about the subjugation of us. However, one man made a call, and on October 16, 1995, the Day of Atonement, 2 million black men showed up on a Monday on the DC Mall. And it was 400 years after affliction and segregation, and then another 40 years of confusion and integration, that this great call was made and our black men showed up. And we may not understood what this meant to our enemy when he saw 2 million black men saying Allahu Akbar in front of his capital, on the steps of his capital, in front of the monument, the White House. All of that, we were talking about Allahu Akbar. Now, he also, Mr. Farrakhan, through the 3 Economic Savings Program, he bought 1,600 acres in Georgia, which was a piece of the 4,500 acre farm that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad had. Now, you got to understand what the enemy saw when he saw the 2 million black men talking about Allahu Akbar, and then he saw us buying land, which means that we could farm the land to grow the food to feed the army, take the stomach away from the enemy. They were so shook by that they perpetrated 9/11 in 2001, because Farrakhan did what he was blessed to do in 95, but in 1989 he had a press conference in Washington where he laid the gauntlet down and said, I know you want to kill me and I can't stop you, but there's a plane half mile by half mile that has 1,500 baby planes that can destroy America in 12 hours if you harm me. So this is 1989. All right? Now, 2001, the answer was 9/11. Israel, along with some sellouts in the government, blew this building up from the inside, but blamed it on 19 Muslims, which is to turn the world, and then it failed in its own footprint, which no way a fire could do that. Never was done it before or after, except for that day with 3 buildings. Blamed it on the Muslims to produce an engram against Muslims, and in particular the black Muslims of the Nation of Islam, so the world would see that it's the Muslims that's the problem, and maybe a black person or a Arab person would kill Mr. Farrakhan. Okay? Because they knew that they couldn't do it because they know about the plane. Now, black people don't believe in the plane in general, because if they did, they would be with him. They really think the white man has the ability to kill who he wants to kill. They believe the white man is a god of the planet Earth. They don't believe that there's anybody that has a technology that can compete with him. So they serve him, knowing that he's evil as hell, but they are afraid of him. Whereas those who believe, like the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, that in fact God did come and he has a plane, and Honorable Elijah Muhammad is with him on that plane and will destroy our enemies, then we can build while our people are still waiting for some help to come. We say it came in 1930, and he's with us, so we can build. Now, So black folks is coming back home. But who's going to benefit? Who controls the economy in your area? Who would benefit when they come back? What is the role of the local governments in the development process? What type of jobs and industry do we want? Whose preferences count? What types of skills and education in schools should our youth be getting? Who will assist or exploit those that return? What type of economic development would God approve of? The people are coming back. Whether we like it or not, the people are coming back to the South. We now have to decide on how we're going to benefit from that and what we're going to do with them and us so that we can build something for us and not wait on America to either rise or fall again. She's falling, she's not getting back up. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad gave us an economic blueprint. You know, and these are 5 principles that are so simple that most people in the world follow naturally. To let you know that the devil must be between black people and themselves. Number 1, recognize the necessity of unity and group operation. Well, we don't see necessity of unity because we don't see the necessity of each other. Right now, we're under the white man's system, and that's who we depend on for food, clothing, and shelter and jobs. So we don't see the necessity in unity and group or organization operation. Pool your resources physically as well as financially. Well, black folks can't get together. Well, we don't want to get together because we're afraid if we do get together, the white man ain't gonna do but kill us and take it from us. So we give it to him and let him invest it for us and develop jobs for us. Stop weighing criticism of everything that is black owned and black operated. We do this out of fear of the white man. You know, if you work on a job and you get black folks sitting together, the white folks will come over there, what y'all doing sitting together? And so we don't even sit together because we don't want to upset white folks so we can keep our jobs. So we always got to criticize each other, and so that we are not seen to be uniting with each other. So we criticize each other in our businesses all the time. Keep in mind, jealousy destroys from within. Then when we see somebody trying to get up and do something, then we have jealousy through fear, and we destroy that person and their works. Observe the operation of the white man. He is successful. He makes no excuses for his failures. He works hard in a collective manner. You do the same. This is a collective manner. See, a corporation is a collective. Okay? We are trying to compete against the white man on an individual level. He's got it so individualistic now that we don't even want to marry each other, much less have a community or business together. We don't even want to marry each other. We're completely uncollective, whereas he is collective, and he works as a system against us. And you got to understand what his purpose is, so you understand where he's leading us, so we can turn around from his destruction. So we have developed a concept called commonomics, common sense economics. Commonomics needed as a group for personal and group survival and righteous success. You know, what is success? That's what we must decide for ourselves, because success that the white man offers is that what he controls. And economics is based on a fundamental understanding of the nature of man and his preferred relationship with God, the universe, and each other is presented in a simple mathematical form. Now, we have produced 2 books based on commonomics or common sense economics. One is Commonomics, Developing a Post-Yakub Economy, and the other is Commonomics 2, The Sheep, Sheepdog, and the Evil Shepherd. Well, these are books on economics, trying to understand the economic system, Yakub's economy, and try to build another economy. Now, a part of the Commonomics principles is a change of mindset. Live to serve, not just consume. If you remember, in our deportation of the black community, we showed you how they changed us from producers and investors and buying land to consumers. So now we just work and spend money and spend it to consume. Define progress and success for self. Well, progress is whatever the white man's direction is going. Right now, he said we're going to have driverless vehicles, and we think that's progress. We think that we get one, that's success. We think if we on the top of that skyscraper working for him, that's success. We think if we have a lot of money to consume, that's success. We say we must define progress and success for self. Plan or be planned. Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said that we are like dust, that the white man just blows around because we don't have no plans. We have no cohesiveness. Therefore, he just tells us, moves us around as he please. Enjoy producing a superior product or service. You know, we at Muhammad Farms, we do what we do because we enjoy producing a superior product or service. It makes us feel like gods when we are able to not defeat nature, but work with nature and come out with a good product. To us, that's the purpose of life, is being a producer and not a consumer. And respect the land. In America, everybody laughs at the farmer, but they all love to eat. We've learned how to disrespect the land. We must learn how to respect the land again if we're to build a better society. Don't sell yourself short. You know, we allow ourselves to be bought off very easily because we don't have a proper knowledge of self, nor of our abilities and our importance to our enemy. Invest in self. Don't give your money for him to invest. Invest in yourself, in your community. If you can't pay, don't bet. I learned this from my brother. You know, I don't play the stock market. I can't afford to lose no money, so I don't bet, and that's all the stock market is. This system is a bunch of it's a gambling casino called the stock market. I don't play that game because I can't afford to lose my money. Cooperate rather than compete. This world is all about competition. Ours got to be about cooperation, and everybody can make some money. Everybody can live better under cooperation rather than compete with one another through competition. Don't fight the power, be the power. The hell with America and its political system. Let's set up our own and be the power. Don't be a slave to debt. This is a big one. When you're in debt, you are under control of somebody else's thumb who you owe. They can tell you what to do. And they set up, you never get out from underneath this debt because they have what's called compound interest. And that keeps building and building and building. You wind up, instead of buying a house, you just bought some crackers a house. Control unnecessary spending. Again, they've made us consumers and we spend unnecessarily on things that we really don't need. And be on time. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad is on time. Minister Farrakhan is on time. Jesus was ahead of time. You need to be on time. Don't be late. Don't miss the revolution because you overslept. Now, with these common principles, we can now go to building